What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you all very much for tuning in. Really appreciate each and every one of you. It's your boy Matty B, and we've been a little bit under the weather post-Daytona. Had a lot of people suspecting that maybe partying in Daytona got the best of me, maybe a little Razzles National, but we actually didn't do any of that. We stayed locked in the entire time I was there. Better locked in than locked up, no choice, but I was sick earlier in the week, got over it for Daytona, and then put myself back 6 feet under while I was grinding it out, doing content and doing everything I did, so we're struggling a little bit at the moment. So this week's preview for round 9 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship is going to be a short one. We got a lot of riders out, a lot of factory riders out with injuries, so we're going to do a little bit of an injury report. We're in the graveyard shift of the season, so we'll go over that stuff. We'll even talk a little bit about Jason Anderson being out, and then we'll do our track preview, our track breakdown, our MX Simulator virtual POV lap, and my predictions for what I think is going down this weekend at the Triple Crown in Indianapolis. But before we do all that stuff, I got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors, because they're the reason we get to all the races and all the events we go to bring you guys all the content that we do. So please do me a favor and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Sirius Studio, who can take care of all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further than there. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep us going. So if you're supporting them, you are literally supporting me. And also, I'm doing the TV announcing for the GT Arena Cross series on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 with Daniel Blair. Here's the airing schedule. Would really appreciate it if you guys would tune in. Not only will entertainment be guaranteed in your contract, but it'll also help me keep my job. But thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoy today's video. Alright, to start off today's video, our main topic before we get into our track preview, track breakdown, the POV lap, and the predictions for the weekend. We're just going to keep it short this week. I don't have much of a voice, but we're going to talk about the injuries. The series has been ravaged by them this year, which has been a massive bummer. The sport's always better when the top guys are in it. So far, since round 1 in Anaheim, the riders have yet to have a single weekend off, but they get one after this weekend in Indianapolis, so maybe and hopefully we'll have several riders returning in Birmingham, but to get into the unfortunately extensive list of injured riders, we'll start with Chase Sexton. After his rough start to his run at Factory Kawasaki, Sexton apparently crashed at the practice track and injured his back and hip. Does not have a return date announced yet. They just said that he was going to be out for Indy as well, but they got a weekend off after Indy, and then they'll be heading to Birmingham, so hopefully we'll see Chase Sexton in Birmingham. Then there's Justin Barcia. We all remember the super scary incident where he landed on Malcolm Stewart at Anaheim 1. He suffered a concussion and 2 broken bones in his back. Still no specific return date's been reported yet, but he has started to do some light riding, and his crash was one of the scariest moments I've seen in Supercross in a long time. I feared the worst. I'm just so glad and thankful that the dude's not only able to just live a normal life, but let alone make a comeback to racing at the highest level. Then there's Dylan Ferrandis. He suffered a thumb injury and his heat race crash at Daytona. Hopefully he's good to go for the rest of the season, because in my opinion, he and the Ducati have had a pretty good, solid start to Supercross. I don't really think Dylan will be doing any better on any other bike, and the Ducati pretty much just looks like another bike out there, and in terms of bringing a brand new machine to Supercross, I think that's a good thing. Then there's Jorge Prado. He went out with an AC separation in his shoulder in qualifying while absolutely sending it in Seattle. AC separations are very painful, but in my experience, they kind of start to get better reasonably quickly, so although I don't expect to see him in Indy, I would think that he would be back in action for Birmingham, and I'm just hoping and praying that he stays healthy for the rest of Supercross, because I cannot wait to see what Jorge can do outdoors now that George isn't around. Austin Forkner had a very scary crash on press day in Houston and broke his hand. He's hoping to return to the 450 class in Birmingham. Originally, it was reported that he was supposed to drop back down to the 250 class for the East Region Series, but maybe this injury's changed that. Maybe it hasn't. I don't really know, but now he's supposed to stay on the 450. We're still missing RJ Hampshire from action. He suffered a broken foot in a practice crash after an off-season injury and a rough start to the 450 Supercross season. Never really got the chance to get going or show us what he's made of yet, but he is hoping to be back before the end of Supercross. How about Jet Lawrence? Anybody remember this guy? At this point, I'm about to have to start calling him Hunter's brother, but yeah, he had a broken ankle, broken foot while practicing preseason. All reports have been that he's ahead of schedule, and maybe with Hunter being in title contention, we might see him rush back even quicker to try to help his brother. That's a total speculation national. I haven't heard anything about that, but hopefully we get to see him sooner rather than later, and maybe even in Supercross. Then there's the masters of the betas, Benny Bloss and Mitchell Oldenburg. A broken wrist on lap 1 of press day at Anaheim 1 for Benny Bloss, and then Mitch Oldenburg got knocked out with a full TKO in qualifying at San Diego, and a real scary deal, but the beta team has actually announced they're not filling in, they're not returning for Supercross at all, they're not doing any of that stuff. They're actually just going to instead focus their efforts on the Pro Motocross season to try to qualify for the SMX playoffs. Poor Drew Adams, man. The dude was having a career day in Daytona last weekend, riding amazing, fastest qualifier, heat race win, but unfortunately went down in the whoops while battling for a podium in the 250 main event, and I believe the injury is a broken thumb. And although Drew's been open about his goal to race every round and finish the series, I was thinking it was going to be really tough to try to ride through this, but maybe he would try anyway. But now the press release has been out. Drew Adams is out from action this weekend. He's getting a thumb surgery, so get well soon, Drew Adams. Hopefully we get him back sooner than later because he was looking amazing in Daytona. If it hadn't been one thing, it's been another for Casey Cochran. Now the poor kid's healing from a broken collarbone suffered at the Baker's factory the week before the 250 East opener. The kid is so talented, but he's just had a really rough run of injuries lately, and there's currently been no return date that I've seen reported. I haven't said this name in a while. How about two Jews? Julian Beaumer. Super scary crash and a broken back last year at the Charlotte Super Motocross Playoffs round. Out for all of Supercross, but he did just get back riding. He moved to Florida, and it looks like he's focused on making a 250 Pro Motocross Championship run, and then he'll be looking for a redemption in Super Motocross. And last but not least in the injury category, Chance Hymas had a dislocated shoulder at Anaheim 2 in the first turn pileup after a very strong start to the 250 West campaign. And Chance is another one. He's been plagued by injuries for his whole pro career, and even through all of them, he still managed to put in some great results, but just hasn't been able to quite string together multiple seasons or series in a row. Haven't heard anything about him returning to Supercross, but I would most definitely put him down as one of the favorites for the 250 Championship in Pro Motocross. And last but not least, the elephant in the room at the National, which is Jason Anderson. He was reported to be missing Daytona due to ongoing health issues, but then people noticed that his Instagram and his social media were deleted, which may or may not have led to an arrest report from mid-December of last year for battery being dug up and of course being shared everywhere online. The charges were then dropped, but still, nothing about this situation's good. I'm not trying to downplay it or act like it's not serious or anything like that, but I just don't know the specifics. I obviously wasn't there, and this isn't a topic or a subject that I really know much of anything about, so I don't really feel like it's my place to weigh in when I don't have a clue. If you guys don't like that, then by all means, go ahead and start your own channel and talk about whatever you want. Nobody's stopping you, but through all the drama and people talking online and all the BS, more than anything, I just want to send thoughts and prayers out to the Andersons that they figure everything out and they're just able to live together as a happy family. There's way more to life than motocross and supercross. As a person, Jason's always been beyond cool to me, and this whole situation just bums me out. I don't want to talk about the drama or speculate or do any of that crap. I just want to wish everyone involved the best, and I'm not sure what that would look like, but I'm truly hoping everybody gets a happy ending. I have no idea if these health issues flared back up right in time for this story to get leaked or something like that. I really don't know if it was a coincidence or anything like that, but I do know that the health issues are real, so that might actually be something he's dealing with too, along with this. But one last thing on the topic, as for a lot of you guys with pitchforks out thinking that the moto media covered up this story and thinking that everybody's known about this for a while and they're just not talking about it, you guys are out to lunch and dinner. You guys think the moto media is just checking through random Florida arrest records? Nah, they're sticking to stuff that's actually related to the sport unless something wild like this just happens to come up. I get it. A lot of you guys live life needing something to be mad about, but for those mad about this just now being reported, I think you might be just a little bit off base here. But enough about all that stuff. Let's get back to dirt bikes. Now we'll get into our track preview and our track breakdown for round 9 in Indianapolis this weekend. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not the biggest fan of this track. It's a little bit on the small side. I mean, maybe it's a smaller stadium, so I'm not sure if there's much they can do with that, but I feel like it's pretty basic. I mean, the track conditions are going to make it very unbasic because there's going to be more lines than a college frat house out there, but I think there's going to be really short lap times, which is going to make the track even gnarlier. I think it might actually make for quite the chaotic Triple Crown. There's not a whole lot of room for stuff to be going on out there, so maybe that'll make for an exciting one, but we've got the start a little bit unique here. It looks like we got a little drop off the gate. I think that's going to be where the 290s that cross the start, you're going to have a little ledge there, maybe where the mechanics are going to stand, so that creates a little drop off out of the gate. Very unique for this week, but then a long start straight right down the middle into a sweeping right-hander around the backside of one of these berms, and then you're right into the longest rhythm section on the track. I think the lines are going to be either 2, 3, 3, 2, or maybe, and I mean maybe, 3, 3, 3, 1, but it doesn't look like the face at the beginning is that big, so that second rhythm that I just said might be a tough one, but out of that first section, you got a 180 bull turn to the right, got the nets just in case anybody gets loose. Then right out of that, a basic triple on, step off, and then a Supercross triple. I say it's basic, but tripling out of that corner onto the tabletop, especially with all the ruts that are inevitably going to be there. I'm sure it's going to be technical, but there's just not many options there. You either triple on off or double and then step over the tabletop single. Then you got the Supercross triple, basic yacht, and then a left-handed 180 bull corner. Then you got your whoops. I think these are going to be jumpers. It's going to be a rhythm section for everybody that's not named Cole Davies. They just get so ate out, ruts everywhere. It's always sticky and soft in Indy, so it's a pretty one-of-a-kind race. But then out of the whoops, then you got a little pop double. That puts you into a couple of 90-degree corners to the right, a 90 across the start straight, and then another 90 to the right. Then you got one of these shelf step-ups into another rhythm section. I think a couple options here would be step on, step off, triple, double into the corner, or maybe you could step up all the way over the shelf and then triple again. But that puts you into another 180 bull corner to the right. Then you got your finish line, just a basic double, nothing to see here. And then you got a flat left-handed 180 after that. I'm not really liking this because, I mean, it's going to be soft, so there's definitely going to get an inside rut. And I think that's going to make it super one line through there, but maybe we'll see him throw an inside single or something in there just to try to make you have a little bit more of a reward to go outside because, you know, the outside berm, it doesn't really lead all the way into the start straight, so you would really have to cut down off that. But then you're back onto the start straight, you sweep around, and then you bend off to the left a little bit. And then you got these weird little offset jumps. You can either go inside and double, and then that sets you up a little better for the berm, or you can go around the outside, skip that first single, and then maybe you could triple into the corner, but then you're not quite having as good of an arc into that corner. But then you got another right-handed bull corner, not quite a 180, maybe a 130 or 140, and then a little basic seat bounce triple out of that corner. That sweeps you right back into the first corner, right back into that first long rhythm section, and that's a lap around Indianapolis for round 9 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship. Now we'll get into the MX Simulator virtual POV lap. I feel like these laps are getting a little bit less loose by the week, but we'll still find a way to get sketchy. I'm still Matty B. The only part of my program that's not loose is my forearms. Even virtually, no choice. And then last but not least, my predictions for this weekend for round 9 in Indianapolis for the Triple Crown National. In the 250 class, I'm going to go with Cole Davies for the win. Last year in Indianapolis, he was unbelievable. I don't know if you guys remember, but he was like the only guy out of both classes skimming the whoops through all the ruts and stuff. So I feel like the kind of track conditions and environment that Indy's going to provide, it's really going to lend itself to Cole Davies' technical skill and let him shine. So I've got Davies for the win. I've got Hammaker for second. I think he's going to be starting consistent, just be up front all night and just get that runner-up spot. And then for third, I've got Sushi, Joe Shimoda, get a little bit of redemption for crashing off the box in Daytona. And then I still have Pierce Brown in this conversation. I mean, I'm having such a hard time leaving him off, but I feel like it almost might be a little bit of musical chairs here in this 250 East with the podiums. You know, it's going to be hard, I think, to find somebody that's on the podium every single weekend. I mean, so far, Pierce Brown's the only one who's even done that. So I kind of just for that reason, am thinking that he might be just off the box. But at the same time, he hasn't done anything to make me say that. So Pierce Brown could very well, hell, he could win this thing this weekend. I'm probably sleeping on him. But then in the 450 class, for the win, I'm going to go with Hunter Lawrence. The dude has been crushing it lately. I can still hardly believe how hard I slept on him and how good he's been, but I think he gets the win in the Triple Crown. Then for second, I'm going to go with Eli Tomac. I think it's going to be a Hunter Lawrence versus Eli Tomac scrap for the dub. It's a Triple Crown, so it might even come down to starts and consistency. And then for the 3 spot, I almost picked this guy to get a win, but this season we just haven't quite seen the same magic out of this guy, but I'm going to go with Cooper Webb. The dude loves Indianapolis. Hell, he named one of his daughters Indy, but he'll be turning down low. He loves the ruts. He loves how gnarls Barkley it gets, and I do think we're going to have a good weekend from Cooper Webb, but Hunter and Tomac are on one right now. It's definitely going to be tough to take him down, but speaking of people getting taken down, I feel like doing this voiceover is about to take me back down, so that's all I got for you guys today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, please let me know what you guys thought of the video. If you agree with my takes, if you disagree, if the video sucked, if I'm a cooked unit idiot. Hell, that's what I feel like right now. But yeah, we're here for all that stuff, guys. Like I always tell you, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys. It means a lot to me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, free of choice.